Is the video showing?
Hey, I just created a professional.
Is the video and audio working? Can anyone hear me or see me? It looks like it's maybe coming over, maybe not. I'm not sure. Might be my internet. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties. We'll get it up. Okay, there we go. Looks like it's up and running now. Looks like it is up and running. Okay, so it's been live for what, like a minute? Okay, all right. So back to what I was saying. We're going to talk about getting your business on the up and up. We're going to talk about getting your business legal. We're going to talk about registering with the government, with the state, with the county, with everyone that you need to do to make sure that you have an actual business. Now, the two disclaimers I have to give for anybody who watches this video now or in the future. I'm not a CPA or a lawyer, not certified. I do know pretty much what I'm doing. As far as every step of the way goes, I've ran multiple businesses and I confer with CPAs on a daily basis. With that said, I am not licensed. Don't care to be. And the second one is that every business is different. So what I tell you to do here or what I may recommend for you to do may not be how it works in your particular state or for your business setup. So just keep that in mind. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump in to the step-by-steps, the 3 steps that you need to get your business legal right off the top. Okay, so number 1, and I want to ask whoever's in the chat, I don't think there's many people yet. They're probably still rolling in. A lot of people said they were going to watch the replay of this, so it's okay. How many people have actually gone to irs.gov and got a tax ID or an EIN number for their business? They actually registered with the IRS. And or how many people are simply just running as a social security number under your personal name? How many people have done, and which one have you done? Because I'm just curious, those of you that are here watching, which ones of you have gone what route, basically? Which ones of you are businesses and which ones of you are sole proprietors is what I'm asking, essentially. I just want to know where we are with everyone. Where are we? I'll wait for the chat to answer that. So I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Step 1, which is registering with the Internal Revenue Service. That is the IRS. You guys can see that, right? You guys can see that fancy page that I'm on right now. Okay. So what you're going to do, no, I've not got an EIN, Chick Picker. Okay, thank you, Chick. What you're going to want to do is go to irs.gov, and I'm going to put that there in the chat, irs.gov. So valid tax ID and state. Good, Marie's got both. Okay, perfect. So irs.gov, and that is your EIN number. This is where you will get an EIN. Now, you have 2 options. You can run under a social security number, and you never have to contact the IRS. What you will do is you will file your taxes as normal, and you will add your 1099, your self-employed income, to your tax return under just your social security number and your name. That's it. You will just be Marie Smith or Marie W. or Chick Picker or whatever your name is, and that will be it. That will be your legal name, social security. If you choose to go to the IRS to register as a sole proprietor or an LLC or a corporation, and you want to get an actual EIN number, which is an employer identification number, you'll go to irs.gov. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to click, they have forms and instructions up here at the top, right? And what you want to do is, it should be individual tax return, W-2. Maybe they moved it. Oh, no, it's right here on the main page now. Apply for EIN, employer identification number. It used to be under forms, but it's right here on the main page now. So just go ahead and click that, right? We're just going to go ahead and click that. And now you're going to scroll down to the part that says, do you need a new EIN or an EIN or how to apply for an EIN? Just click the apply for EIN number, right? Online. So determine your eligibility, read through that, make sure you have that. Understand the online application. Your session expires after 15 minutes of an activity. Apply online, okay? Click that. You guys can see everything that I'm doing right now. All right. And then once you are on this page, oh, our online assistant is currently unavailable. Ouch. Okay. So it looks like you cannot do it right now. You have You have to do it during the hours? That's odd. Well, that's okay. I can still walk you guys through this. So click apply for a new EIN. Oh, it's taking you to the same page. Okay, they're not going to let us do it because it's the weekend or because their website's broke. I'm not really sure why they're not letting us do this. Okay, apply. Yeah, they're not going to let us do it. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you to do is once you get to this website here and you click the apply online, it's simply going to ask you for all of your basic information. It's going to ask you for, and I'm going to go ahead and put me back up here on this screen. It's going to ask you for your social security number, your name, address, all that good stuff, right? And then it's going to ask you to choose sole proprietor, LLC, sole owner, LLC, or corporation, S Corp, all that sort of thing. So what happens is you will have to choose which way you want to go. So what is a sole proprietor? A sole proprietor means you're working as an individual who's running a business. You are taxed one time. So today I start selling stuff, and throughout the year, I am totaling everything up, totaling it up, and I paid $5,000 and I sold everything for $10,000 and I made a $5,000 profit, right? The business, I don't know what the tax percentage is on that, maybe 18 or 15 or whatever. Let's just say it was 15% on $5,000, right? So I owe $750 in taxes. I owe 15% of my 5,000 profit. That's not a real number. I don't know what it is. But I owe the IRS $750. Now you also get to deduct things like, your expenses and your shipping, and that all we'll get into in a minute. But once you take the deductions, the IRS goes, okay, you owe us $750 after all your expenses, you owe us $500. Perfect. So you write your check for $500 and you pay the IRS your taxes, and that's it. The money is good. It's all yours, whether it's in your business account or maybe you transferred some to your personal account. All that money is yours after you pay the taxes. You don't have to write yourself a paycheck. You don't have to file separate corporate taxes. It's just taxed one time as a sole prop. That's what about 95% of you should be filing, right? 95% of you should be filing a sole proprietorship business. You don't need anything more than that. The next step up would be a single owner, a sole owner or single owner or one owner. They call it all different things. One owner LLC. That's what I have. The only difference between operating as a sole owner and a sole owner LLC, a sole proprietor and a single owner LLC, is you get protections of LLC. It does cost a little bit more money depending on where you live, and I'll get into that in a second. But when you file with the IRS, you want to choose sole owner, not multi-partner. Again, you will be taxed once. The money comes to you, and you can take the money and do as you please with it. There's no real downside to having the LLC other than it does cost a little more money. So that's the IRS.gov website. That's what you have to do right there. Once the website's available, I had no idea that it wasn't available. And you will choose sole owner, LLC, or sole proprietor, and that's totally up to you. Now, if you want to be an S Corp, C Corp, or other kind of incorporation, you will need to talk to a CPA for sure, or possibly a lawyer to go that route. I don't even have that route. I understand it. I know how to do it. I'm still going to call a CPA at the time when I upgrade to a corporation, which may be next year. Okay, so that's step one. That's registering with the federal government, IRS, for your tax ID number and paying your federal taxes. This has nothing to do with the state. This has nothing to do with state sales tax. This is only the federal government and federal taxes. So when you apply, Marie just pointed out a really good point. When you apply for a EIN number as a self-employed business, and this probably won't happen in your first year unless you take off really fast, but in your dealings as a business, you will be required to pay quarterly federal taxes. Quarterly federal taxes, okay? It tells you in the fine print you won't be eligible to pay once a year until you've been in business for a year. So what happens is the federal government, the IRS, requires you to pay them 4 times a year if, and the fine print says this, you expect, it's called expected federal taxes. If you expect to owe $1,000 or more. Well, how do you know what you may owe? Well, if your business is only making a couple $100 a month and you think you're only going to make $3,000 or $4,000, you probably won't owe $1,000 in taxes. If your business is making $2 or $3 grand in profit per month, and you may owe a couple $100 a month in profit or in taxes, yes, you expect that you probably are going to owe $1,000 to the federal government. So then you would make quarterly payments. Let's say you start your business in January, February, March. You have to track your accounting. And at the end of those 3 months, let's say that you made $5,000 in profit over 3 months. Oh, we just talked about it might be 15%. Go look up the tax percentages, and you owe them $750. So you think, okay, I'm going to do each quarter, I'm going to make I'm going to owe them $750. So that's about $3,000 for the year I'll owe the government. So I'm going to send them a tax payment, a quarterly tax payment of $750. Guessing that that's about what I'm going to owe unless things, blow up. And if they blow up in second quarter, you'll send them a little more. And then so for January, March, April, May, June, you'll do the same thing. July, August, September, you'll do the same thing. In October, November, and December, you will do the same thing. In January of 2021, as we move forward, you would make a payment for the last quarter of 2020. And then come April, you will file your taxes as normal. Okay, you'll come up with the deductions and the totals, and then the government's going to say, you owe us $5,000. And you're going to say, well, I already sent 4 payments of $750. I sent you $3 grand. The government's going to say, perfect. You only have a balance of $2,000. Or you're going to get to the end of the year, and the government's going to say, well, you owe us $2,200. You're going to say, well, I said $3 grand. They're going to say, perfect. Here's your $800. And so that's why they do it. And that's exactly how quarterly taxes works for the federal government. This is IRS, federal government taxes. Okay, now that we've got that all situated, so you're going to register, and then you know how you will file for them. You can also Google or email me, and I will give you the schedule for like quarterly taxes for the federal government. Now, step number 2, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this screen, and I'm going to share another screen with you guys. And this is going to be state. Now, I'm going to show you the Florida one. Every state has a Department of Revenue. You're going to type in the name of your state, Massachusetts Department of Revenue, Texas Department of Revenue, California Department of Revenue, whatever it is, you will get the correct website that you need. Okay, so this is Florida's website. It's called sunbiz.org, Division of Corporations. Here it is, right? Okay. So once I have my sole proprietor or I have my LLC. Now, if you've gone the sole proprietor route and you're just operating under your social security number, when you register with your state, you will register as a sole proprietor. Now, I don't know how every website is, but I'll show you on Florida again. And you will do business as your name, or you have a second option. You can register, okay? So let me go here. It says start business. See, we have limited liability, profit, nonprofit, limited partnership, fictitious name. If you are running as a sole proprietor, you will register a fictitious name. You don't have to, but you should. So if your name is Mary Smith and you want to run Mary's Craft Shop or Mary's Clothes Shop, you will simply buy a fictitious name. This is also called a DBA, doing business as. If you plan to operate under any name other than your legal name, which means if you're going to open a brick and mortar store or in theory having an eBay store, Shopify, you should have a fictitious name for the name of whatever you're going to call those stores. So, for example, my YouTube channel, I do business as Rockstar Flipper. I own in Florida the fictitious name Rockstar Flipper. That means my legal business is an LLC. It's called Worldwide Sales LLC, doing business as Rockstar Flipper. I can have 100 doing business as. My company, Worldwide Sales LLC, or your sole proprietor, could own an ice cream shop. It could own a coffee shop. It could own a dog store. You could have Mary's Dog Store, DBA, Mary's Dog Store. You could have a DBA, Mary's Coffee Shop, Mary's Ice Cream Shop. Every time you want to operate under another name, you will go buy that fictitious name. You can have 1,000 of them. And you will then be allowed to register that fictitious name and operate under that name. It means you can put that name on bank accounts. It means you can accept checks. You can advertise under that name. One of the requirements in Florida when you buy a fictitious name is that you advertise it in the newspaper for 30 days to let people know you are operating under that name. So even though my legal business is Worldwide Sales LLC, I can operate Casey's Coffee Shop as long as I buy the fictitious name for it and it's available. And then I go put it in my local newspaper for $10 and let it run for a month as an advertisement. You have to do that by law. They don't check, but you should, because if they do, they can fine you. Okay, so the other option is limited liability company, which is what I have. And you can file for your limited liability and file articles of organization. I have read, so I want to start a new filing, and you can create everything that you need to create. Obviously, it's all the normal stuff, and that's pretty much it. Now, our filing fee here in Florida is $125. We can get a certificate of status or certified copy for more, but it's $125 a year for an LLC here. A sole proprietor running with just a fictitious name, I believe is, let's check on it. I believe I pay $50 for those per year. And this will, of course, be different for every single state. So the fictitious name is register fictitious name. I've read. I own several of these, so I should know. Okay, so the certificate of status is $10 and the certified copy is $30. You have to pay the 10. So it may only be 10. I thought it was more than that. Wow. Oh, it may have been 50 because I paid for the advertisement too. So here is the certificate of status, $10. You do have to get that. So fictitious name to run under any other than your legal name. So that is pretty much it. Okay, so let me come back. Okay, it's me. All right. So far we've registered with the IRS and now we've registered with our state. The third step inside of your state that you will need to do, and I'm going to share one more screen with you guys, is go back to the Department of Revenue site. Now, ours has a separate section called Florida Department of Revenue, right? It's got Florida Child Support. It's got Department of Revenue for taxes, for registration. You want to go here and get, look, see, print annual resale certificate. You want a state resale certificate. And what this allows you to do is buy merchandise tax-free. You'll be able to purchase merchandise at stores without paying sales tax because you are a reseller who's not keeping the merchandise. This also is what they use to track you recording your sales tax. Now, once Florida in January supposedly starts collecting it and paying it, this won't be as important because you won't have to pay any of the sales tax from the platform. If you sell off eBay or Amazon, like through Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or Instagram, you still do need to track it and report it. Also, some states require that you file even if you don't owe them anything. If it's zero. In Florida, we have to, even if eBay paid all of it. If I only sell on eBay and they collect all the sales tax and they pay it, I still have to file saying zero owed, eBay paid everything, done. So some states require that. Please check your state or they will fine you. Florida fines you. So here is sales and use tax, and you will print and use print your sales tax. When you register on here, if you're not registered, then you will go back to the beginning and you will need to register for a new one. But if you are registered, you will have another page to log in. They'll give you some logins and you can print your resale certificate right off of the website. That is sales tax. That is state sales tax. Okay. That is typically paid quarterly as well. Here in Florida, it's quarterly. So that's very, very important to remember as well. Now, the fourth step, step 4, I said this is a 5-step process. Step 4, some of your states, including Florida, of course, I live in a state that requires all this, require you to get an occupational or business license. Some places call it a secondhand license or a reseller's license. Basically what it is a right to do business in a county. My county here in Tampa is called Hillsborough County, and it is $30 a year. So I pay $30 a year. I pay like $10 a year for that fictitious name. Now that I know that, that's $40, and I pay $125 for my LLC. So $165 a year registers me for the entire year. If I was an LLC in California, it's like $800 a year. A sole proprietor is like $50. So every state is different. Every fee is different. Every cost is different. You need to look it up. You can Google all of this, rewatch my video, and you will see how to find those websites. Also a CPA, of course. So step 4, county license. It's called an occupational license. Here, some places call it a secondhand license, occupational right to do business license. They call it all kinds of different stuff I've seen all over the country. I think Texas calls it a reseller's license. You have to look and ask your Department of Revenue. Okay. So that's step 4. Now, step 5 is the part where we jump over and talk about accounting. So accounting is once you have yourself completely registered, you're good with the IRS, you're good with your state, you're good with your county, you've got all your license, you've got everything that you need, and you're ready, you know that you need to either file quarterly or yearly federal tax and probably quarterly state sales tax. So you have to track all this stuff. As part of what you've just bought, you should have an accounting. If you came in here from the full reseller program or from the accounting program, you have all of my material that is going to teach you how to account for all of this stuff. If you don't have it, then I highly recommend that you get it. It is spreadsheets, it's Excel, it's QuickBooks, it's cost of goods, it's inventory, it's all kinds of things that you absolutely need to have to track your expenses and your deductions and all of your sales and your profits and all that kind of stuff. So make sure if you came in here from one of those programs, you study that information 100%. 100%. If you have questions, please, please, please get in touch with me. If you came here just from the webinar setup, just from the individual link, and you're watching this later, then you may need the accounting program. And that accounting program is something that will change your life. It's normally, I've charged anywhere from $25 to $50 just for that. Most of you have the accounting program, I'm pretty sure. I think a few of you probably don't. I'll put it down in the description box, but it's how you track step by step every dollar that goes in and out of your business, because being set up legally is the flag to the IRS and the state that, hey, I'm in business and I need to pay you. And so that is essentially you're like, I'm here. Hi guys. It's your giant red flag, and you better have your numbers right. You better know what you're doing. And that's just all it is. I'm linking it down in the description box for now. Anybody watching later, feel free to comment any questions. Okay, so I went ahead and added the link to that if you don't have it. Okay, so I want to stop for a minute since we're about, almost a half an hour in. If there's any questions in the chat right now that I can answer, anything I need to stop and cover that I've already covered that you may not have understood. I think that most people told me that they were gone today and they were going to watch this later. So I expect that there's going to be a lot of people who check this out a little bit later today. I'll put it back out for them as well. So anything that you didn't understand, anything I need to cover, or any questions you had beyond that I need to get to right now, please don't hold back. Please let me know. Marie's here. I know Junk Monkey and Chick Picker are both here. Amy is running under Social Security number. I feel like my internet's running really slow too, guys. Sorry about that. I just wanted to put this all in one place of how to register the business and be legal 100%. So we touched on this Thursday, but I wanted to go and show you the websites and be kind of step by step on it. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody is too far behind, so that's good to know. With the sales tax certificate, somebody sent my private Facebook a message. I don't know if they're in here or not, but with the sales tax certificate, yes, when you print it off of your computer, you will make a copy of it. In fact, I made like 100 copies of it at the beginning of every year, and I keep them in my desk. I probably made like 30 or 40 copies. And anytime I go somewhere, I keep the copies, a couple copies in my glove box. You can give them to pawn shops. You can give them to thrift stores. You can give them to anywhere, and they can just keep them on file. They can keep a copy of it. You keep the original if you get it, or whatever you print offline. And that way you can just give it to them and you don't ever have to take one back. And then when you go to the store again, if you forget one, they have one on file. Amy says she is trying to debate whether to add the husband to the business or just run a sole LLC. So let me ask the question, Amy, what is your reasoning for wanting to add the husband to the business? What is the actual reason? Is it just to add him to it, or is it so that he can sign for bank accounts? What exactly are the reasons? Because I can help you with this, because I did this with, even though me and Kate aren't married, I added Kate to the business, and I'll tell you why and how in just a second. But I want to hear, what is your reasoning for adding him? Asking, she's wanting to run a sole owner LLC, but she wants to have her husband, which there's two sides to that. If you're running a sole owner LLC and you run it under your name and you're married, you and the husband are considered the one owner. You are a married joint venture. And so you are one owner still technically. You're not a partnership who's separate. Me and Kate are not married, so it doesn't work that way for us. I would have to make her an owner and then we become a partnership. So what I did was a little bit different. Basically, what I did was I added her as a manager, kind of like an assistant owner. When you register here in Florida, we have like managing partner / not an owner. And so I'm the sole owner and she's the managing partner. And I get to determine how much share of the company she owns, which was 1%. And so when I file my taxes, because we're not married, we all of it goes onto my income. And if the company makes $100,000 in profit, she's going to get $1,000 of it because she has 1%. I assigned her 1%. That allows her to sign bank accounts, sign for credit cards, apply for loans. She can do just about anything that she could do if she was 100% owner, but she's just not 100%. Amy's in Tampa. So you would run it the same as me, Amy. When the business grows, he may take a more active role in the future and take on more activities. So because you guys are married, you can add him, and I'll be happy to walk you through it. If you haven't already registered with the IRS or with the state of Florida, I don't know how far you've made it in that process, but I'll be happy to help you with that. It's really not all that difficult, and he can be an owner or signer right now. But since you guys are married and I assume that you file your taxes jointly, it kind of works out the same because the marriage is one entity, the marriage is one union, and that marriage owns the business as opposed to Amy and Joey or whatever his name is. Sorry for whatever his name is. But you guys don't own it individually. You can run a business and own a business separate of your husband if you choose. If you do not put him on there now and you start the business or you already have as Amy, when you go to add him, there's some amendments that you have to do. And that's something I'm not familiar with 100%.
Sorry, I can't help you.
But I can look into that for you. So yeah, we'll get it done. Shoot me a message on Facebook or email me and I'll work with you guys on that. So, okay. If there's not any other questions, I wish I could have done this a different time. I know more people would have watched live, but I have to leave tonight. So unfortunately, this is the only time I had to do it. Okay, so the last part, the accounting part. Let's jump into that since I know a lot of people watching this are going to want to know. So once you're all set up and you have the accounting, get my accounting program. Choose whether you're going to do Excel or QuickBooks or GoDaddy. It doesn't matter. I don't care which one that you do. A lot of people love GoDaddy. A lot of people love QuickBooks. A lot of people just like to use Microsoft Excel because it's free. As a part of my accounting program, there are pre-made sheets in there. Those pre-made sheets will track all of those numbers that you need to track. And then once you go to file your taxes, you can choose to file them through TurboTax. H&R Block is a wonderful site. My mom worked for them for many years. They're usually cheaper than TurboTax too. And you can also hire a CPA who will file them for you, or you can manually get the forms off the website from the IRS, irs.gov, and file them yourself. I don't recommend that. Use a software. It's much easier. I should do a walkthrough, but the problem with doing walkthrough on taxes is that I have to show a lot of personal information and it's really, really difficult. And so that's why I didn't want to do it. But I really, really think I should take some screenshots and show you guys. Okay. Now, if that doesn't get you up and running with your business legally, pretty much don't know what else will. I wanted to keep this under 45 minutes. We're at 30 right now. So I figured I'd have a few more questions, but I think I covered everything. I think that's all you will need. Federal government, sales tax for your state, get your sales tax certificate and check on any county licenses, and then get yourself set up with accounting. Either get GoDaddy, get QuickBooks. They're about $150 a year for each of them, give or take, or hire a CPA. That works as well. They're a couple $100. You shouldn't pay more than $200 or $300 for our size business. You know, if we were a big corporation, you know, my buddy, millions of dollars, he spends $1,000 a year on his accountant, but $1,500 sometimes. But we really shouldn't spend more than a couple $100 on an accountant. So keep that in mind. Other than that, I think we're all covered. I think if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me at rockstarflipper@gmail.com, and I will be happy to answer them for you. I appreciate you guys being here. If you need anything, please don't hesitate. Also, if you only came here via the accounting or the webinar, make sure, if you only came via the webinar, make sure you get the accounting. It's linked below. If you came here and you already have the accounting or you're part of the full reseller program, I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And I really, really hope this helps you if you're not set up yet. If you just came here and you didn't have the reseller training program, you can message me or email me and I'll send you that link with a special price as well. So everything else is there. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. It's crazy out there. Christmas shopping is nuts. I went to the store earlier. Target was insane. So if you need something, plan ahead. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend. And hopefully we have some great comments and questions down there. Check this video back for a while. I'll make it public way down the road, but it's private for now. And yeah, so whenever anybody asks questions, just come back to this video, read the comments, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions and you might get some information out of that as well. I plan on getting a CPA this January. I've used TurboTax, but I'm not totally comfortable. Chick Picker, that is absolutely a great point. If you don't feel comfortable, hire somebody. Have them show you, learn it, and then when you feel comfortable, then come back and do it yourself. What's great about TurboTax and what's great about H&R Block, they literally just walk you through it step by step. So box one's going to come up and say, put in your name. And it's going to say, put in your social security, put in your tax ID number, put in your address. So you're going to finish all that. And then it's going to pop up to the next screen. It's going to say, hey, are you self-employed? Boom. Yes. It's going to say, how much did you do in gross sales? Boom, 50,000. And then it's going to say, did you have cost of goods sold? Boom, 10,000. And it's going to say, what kind of shipping fees did you have? 500. And you're just going to fill these boxes in one after another after another. And it's going to calculate. It's going to say, looks like you owe the IRS $1,200. Okay, do you have any other deductions? Do you have mileage? Do you have this? Do you have that? You're just going to fill these boxes in. It's going to, oh, looks like you owe the IRS $600. Looks like the IRS owes you $600. That's all that it does. If you use H&R Block, it actually pops up in the corner. As soon as you put your sales in, 50 grand, you owe the IRS $20,000. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, I spent $800 on shipping. Okay, we give you a $400 credit. Boom, you owe the IRS $19,600. And then every time you put something in, you'll just see it drop and drop and drop of what you owe them. Or if you add more sales, it'll go up that you owe them. And eventually it'll get down to zero and then go to them owing you, or it may stay at 500 that you owe them, or 5,000 you owe them, or however much money you've made. And so that's the way that H&R Block system works. I love H&R Block. I'm biased because my mom worked for them a long time ago. But I do think their system is cleaner. When I compare them side by side, it's so much easier. And almost always the H&R Block price is cheaper than TurboTax. And if you use H&R Block multiple years, they give you a discount. In fact, this year, they're giving me like $45 off. How much is it to file through H&R Block? Anywhere from like $80 to $100. I like it when it says the IRS owes me. Yeah, I don't ever get that message, unfortunately. I have to pay the IRS every single year because, well, I make money all through the year. And even if I send the IRS quarterly payments of $1,000 or $2,000, it gets to the end of the year and they're like, hey, thanks for the $6,000. Thanks for the $7,000. You owe us 11. And I'm like, here's another check for 5,000 more. And they're like, oh, have a great day. And I'm like, thanks a lot, guys. You're welcome for the 12 grand this year, 13 grand, whatever it may have been. So yeah, that's it. Okay. Tax brackets are Googleable. You can just Google 2019, 2020 tax bracket. It'll show you the percentage. H&R Block is my recommendation. I don't have any codes for it, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. I'm going to head out of here. I got some store reviews and some stuff to do, and then I got to leave. So enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody who got the webinar and everybody who watches this later on replay. Until next time, good, happy sales, and questions, comments, concerns, rockstarflipper@gmail.com, and I will get with you. Thanks, guys. Bye.